What's up, everybody? I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMovieScreens.com, and I got another movie to review for you guys, and that would be American Made, where the twist of the film is actually the film is made in China. That was a terrible joke, but you just hear me out. I'm going to try to convince you to watch this movie. All right, so the plot of this film focuses on real-life person Barry Seal, who was a pilot, and then he gets roped into working with the CIA, and then he gets roped into working as a drug runner for Pablo Escobar, and then eventually the White House. So basically, this is a crazy story that you would never believe, but you kind of want to watch and witness this zaniness on screen. So going into this film, I wanted Tom Cruise to redeem himself because The Mummy came out earlier this year. Sorry, I had an itch. And so, needless to say, I wasn't really looking forward to this film because The Mummy was such a stank on his career. But the trailers kind of won me over. It looks stylish. It kind of looks like The Big Short meets Gold meets The Wolf of Wall Street. So, yeah. And so, going into it, no expectations. Getting out of it, kind of liked it. I do have a couple of issues with it, but I think overall I had a fun, entertaining time with this film. So let's get real and break this down. Now, given the plot of the story, you're probably thinking to yourself, ugh, why do we have another movie like this where an ordinary person gets roped in to greed and, works with Pablo Escobar? It feels like we see like 2 or 3 of these movies a year, and so there's not really anything new with this type of story. We've seen this story over and over again. So the story itself isn't really, anything that's, captivating. It's entertaining, but it's not really like riveting stuff. Like it's just more of like popcorn flair, which is fine. But what makes this movie kind of different than most of the films that I mentioned is that Doug Liman's direction in this film is pretty cool. We have this Big Short style, like handy cam documentary look to make it feel like the film has this sense of urgency and this sense of, presence, like you were actually in this film and he's taken you along on this ride with Tom Cruise's character. So I respect that, even though the story has been told many times before. Speaking of the story, this isn't one of those stories where it's like a cradle to the grave story of a person, seeing his life and, oh, he's working with the CIA now. Oh, that's nice. And we'll eventually go to Pablo Escobar. And, okay. And then, he might go to jail or die. And so it's like, okay. So, yeah, that's a nice little biopic. No, this is more of like a shortened highlight reel of Barry Seal's life. That's kind of an issue for me only because it is literally first 5 minutes, he's a pilot. Wha-bam. Okay, he's working with the CIA. Wha-bam. He is working with Pablo Escobar now. It's like, whoa, let's slow down, movie. Now, there are certain moments in the film where it slows down, but for the most part, this is just a stylized highlight reel of Barry Seal and his journey from working as a pilot to eventually the White House and then going through all the crap in the middle. So, I get it. You want to keep the film entertaining. You want to keep it fresh and lively. You want to have a nice pace to it. I understand, but that has to be addressed because it's not really a straight up narrative. It's just more of like really good segments of this man's life. Now, I found them entertaining. A lot of people might find it annoying. That's okay. Also with the story, there's one character in particular that comes into the movie and literally grinds the movie to a halt. I understood why this character was there, but in all honesty, if you took him out, it's like, would that really make a difference? Not really. And so I felt like that character kind of did stop the flow for a little bit in the film. And also there's some secondary ancillary characters that are just really just thrown in the background and you recognize them from other movies and TV shows and you're like, cool, are they going to do anything? Not really. So actually those are only my major issues along with the editing because like I said, since it is kind of like a stylized highlight reel, it is a little bit jumpy and a little jaded in its transitioning between segments, and you can definitely see that. It almost looked like they had no clear direction in some parts, and it was like, oh, okay, just throw in a couple shots here, and then we'll transition to the next segment. One in particular, at the very beginning, Tom Cruise is sitting in a diner, then it cuts to 3 quick scenes of him doing his wife, and then back to the diner. Honestly, I didn't know what the purpose of those cuts were, and I was like, okay. And so it's stuff like that that's just kind of frustrating when you sit there and you're like, wow, that was kind of jarring. Like, get your crap together, movie. So, yeah, believe it or not, those were my only issues with the film. The story of the character, some characters, and then of course the editing of the film. But ironically, on the flip side, it's a very entertaining film, and I found myself to be like laughing at some parts and really just kind of in awe as to what was happening with this craziness. So the editing, it works in some parts and then it doesn't work. So it's just really weird. It's like this conflicting, confusing feeling that I have about this movie. So another positive is Thomas Cruise Willius III, also known as Tom Cruise, and he's really great. His charisma that he naturally brings to roles does show up in this movie, unlike a Mummy movie where he felt like he was just there collecting a paycheck. It looked like he was actually trying in this movie. I felt like this was just a normal dude that got roped into this situation. He became greedy. He became stupid and kind of a dick. And then, of course, you kind of feel for him as the end of the film kind of wraps up, ironically, because you're like, this guy's kind of a moron. He's getting kind of douchey with all that money. You know what I'm saying? So towards the end of the film, I actually felt a little sympathy for him, and that has to do with the subtlety of Tom Cruise's performance. And to be quite frank with you, it's one of the better performances in quite some time. And the last thing is to address the handycam work and the cinematography. On a visual level, it's not really like breathtaking or anything, but on a technical level, I kind of dig the Handycam documentary look. It feels like you were actually there, and that's what Doug Liman was trying to go for. And it does kind of add to the 80s kind of, flow to it. Like, it even opens up with an old school Universal logo, and even the production companies that made the film have a 80s retro style logo, and that's really cool. So it kind of just adds extra flavor to it, and so I do think the documentary style adds to the setting of the movie. Now, it is an entertaining film overall, and like I said, I'm fighting myself with my grade because the pacing is very jumpy in some parts, some unnecessary things, but I'm not gonna lie, I was entertained. There's even some darkly comedic moments in this movie, and I was like, I found myself laughing. Who knew? So, for the most part, I think this is an entertaining, acceptable movie that has some really interesting segments for sure. And I do think that this is worth your time, but I'm not going to highly recommend it or be like, oh man, you need to go see this. But I will say, on a grade scale, I will give American Made a B-. Couldn't really give it a C+ because I really did enjoy myself quite a bit while watching it, and I laughed more than I should, and Tom Cruise is pretty great in this. So, yeah, even with my issues, I'm still going to give it a B-. So, what did you guys think of American Made, or have you even heard of it? Comment in the place below my face and let me know. And as always, guys, I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMoviescreens.com, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.